I've already played that one.
Say 5th grade or below.
Okay, that's insulting.
You know,
Are you still explaining how to
I
play
am.
the game?
I went.
We
back
just
to,
did the we just did the buy or borrow.
You messed me up with permutations.
Sorry.
Welcome to the garage. Here we go. Another game or another buy, borrow, or bust. And
It was a 100-degree day, so if we are glistening, there's a reason for
a warm
that.
day in September.
Yeah.
So
If you see bugs, we're in the garage and it's warm, so that's why.
And we open the garage door and we're like, we need some airflow. Okay, so we are looking at a game, but I've got a question before we get going on this game. Let's say you're the one who gets to pick the game for the night. It's your choice, your prerogative. Are you going to pick an old favorite, or are you going to find a new game?
I always like an old favorite.
Old favorite.
Always.
Okay.
I'm 100% love playing a game multiple times.
Okay, so we are very different in this one. So I am like, oh, it's game night. What are the 17 games I haven't played? Which one do I want to pull out? And I think what's cool about this game right here is it scratches both of these itches.
It does. It accomplishes both in a really interesting way.
Yeah. Here we go. Unmatched. Buy, borrow, or bust. So, pros and cons.
All right, right out the gate, you'll probably already notice that it is very small.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's a really good thing. I love the fact that
real game right here.
This is, you can buy just one of these. These are all the different kind of versions. I think this is most of them except for Jurassic Park. And maybe one or two.
Yeah, we're missing a couple.
But you can buy just one and have a lot of fun with it. And it's this small, and you could almost fit it in a backpack. Maybe not. It depends on your backpack. But you can take this anywhere, pull it out. It takes up little to no space on your table. Sets up really fast, really quick. You're getting involved, playing the game about as quick as you can explain it. I love that. I love how simple this game is to set up and play.
Yeah, and I think some people are going to throw a con. There's not much game here, but I think there's plenty of game, and I like that it plays in that 30 minutes. I mean, it really is there. So a big pro for me is that the end is in view. Like the moment you start, here's the deal: you get to pull 5 cards. You start with that. You have a hand limit of 7, but this is your deck, and when you get to the end of the deck, you're exhausted and you're starting to lose health points every turn thereafter, and you don't get to redeal this, redeck this. Like it's not. When is this game ending?
It's an odd thing. There's as a deck. It's not really a deck builder. The decks are already pre-built for you. You just shuffle them and start playing, and you cannot change what's inside of these decks. Maybe for some of you that's kind of a turnoff, but for me, deck building's fun, but it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of time. You're spending about as much time. Especially if you're getting into a CCG or a TCG or something like that. I don't know, TCG is a thing.
You're
trading card games.
All these CIA, FBI.
Yeah. Once you get into that realm of card game, you are spending more time
like reading cards.
Reading cards and organizing your deck rather than playing. And that's viable. That's a hobby, sure.
So like this one is Bigfoot. And so that's my attack 6 right there, and I've got a little boost of 3, and simply larger than life. He's just big. Like, that's a simple card. And the best part about this is I look down here in the corner and it's times 3. I have 3 of these in the deck. It's not like I need to learn 30 different cards. I'm actually doing, I don't know, 5, maybe 10, 12 different types of cards is what I'm doing. But when I start putting these combos together and figuring it out, sometimes I know I have a character that I need most of this deck to win with. Sinbad, Bruce Lee, they have these combos and stuff like that. So I need this deck. So that means I can't just go like attack and I gotta like run around a little bit.
And again, it's a deck that's already been built for me. And it's almost like instead of me choosing what I'm going to play, I have to be responsive. I have to respond to what's dealt to me. And actually, what's fun, and this is what he's talking about when he's saying this scratches the itch of somebody that likes playing a new game. You can pull one of these out, not look at, wow, that fell everywhere.
You can throw the cards around, do whatever you want.
They are throwable cards. You can take this deck and you can chuck it on the table, never look at them, and just start playing. And that's part of the fun of like, oh, These cards are crazy. I didn't
What?
know,
What am I going to do
this
with
is
this?
awful.
And what
fun.
happens then is you played that and you're like, oh, now I know what's in my deck. I want to play again because now you're thinking what's there. But what he's saying there is, for me, one of the huge pros of this game. So this is a little hint on the buy, borrow, or bust.
They're all
We
hits.
got
I don't own any of these.
so the only question here is whether he will buy, borrow, or bust. I've already jumped in, but what's fun is I want the new game. But what's great is I don't have to learn a new game, but I get a new deck of 30 cards that is like, oh man. So the Invisible Man, it plays like the Invisible Man.
They're picking all these famous characters and they're saying, how in the world would Bigfoot play? How would Little Red Riding Hood play? And they have designed these decks so that they match those characters. And they've done a fantastic job. So Invisible Man disappears from the board.
Yeah,
I mean, he'll just, he's gone.
just off the board.
And he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and Sherlock Holmes, I was playing you and you were Sherlock Holmes, and he gets to guess my card. And if he guesses it, it's dead. And then he's got hands where he gets to look at my cards. He's like an investigator, and I'm
It's
like,
great.
"Where's that card for me?"
Right.
I've only seen it in that character. I pull this out. I had brought one of the games that I had already played before, but of course, knowing the way I play, I just got Bigfoot. I want to play this, this thing. So I pull it out, and I'm like, man, this is a great character. I wonder if he's gonna hide in the trees. I wonder, I wonder how he's gonna win. And it was just, he plays so much different than all these other characters. I mean, here are all the different characters, and it's like every one of them, they have put pieces in. They're like, that plays like Sinbad.
Right.
That's Bruce Lee. And I really applaud them on figuring that out. I understand that people are making their own decks and putting their own 30 cards. I can see.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's
cool.
like
So you can make it like a deck builder.
yeah, but they're making their own pieces. So some of these characters, like Bigfoot, he's got a sidekick named Jackalope. And this character, when you get your 5 cards, sometimes I've got to play that character. I can't play the other one. But Robin Hood, I mean, his merry men, he's got like 4 of these things, and those guys are running all over the place and playing very different.
Medusa's got these characters that run around with them, and what ends up happening is your sidekicks can just function as tactical blocks and ways to maneuver and manipulate the board. They work really well with all of the different types of characters. It's just a ton of fun.
So if you're like Bodie and you like just your old favorite, you're going to look at all these players and say, I want to play the one I know. I'm going to pull.
So I've played Medusa like 3 times.
Right, and that's a cool one. And I'm going to be here and I'm going to be like, who haven't I played? Let's play that one, and that's a cool thing.
Just realized that we really didn't explain what this game was at any point. We just got too excited and started talking about it. So what is Unmatched? What is it?
Well, it's basically, you can play one-on-one, you can play 3-player and 4-player, but basically it's a real simple, I've got these 5 cards. These 5 cards have offensive abilities, defensive abilities. Some of them have both, and I'm trying to basically kill his hero.
Well, not really basically. Most definitely.
That's all I really care about. At first, when we got the game out, we were like, I'm a little concerned that this is like a mean, like, take that. Yeah, boom, boom,
it gets
boom.
really personal, and it just doesn't.
It doesn't, because that's my only job. My only job is to knock your health down.
And my other fears when we started playing this, it felt a little empty or a little basic, because this board doesn't have a lot going on. You're just kind of like, I'm going to move 3 spaces, and you're going to move 2. And I'm going to move 3, and you're going to move 2. And you're really just staying away from me by 1. But there's enough things going on in these decks that you start running into where you've got instant actions that just allow you to kind of break the game. And it's a bit chaotic. And that's what I really like. It's not a dueling chess game.
No.
And that works I'm so happy about that.
Several times I'm like, I've got a good move. And then I play, and then he's got a good card to go against my good move. And then he's built up a hand, and I'm like, oh, man, I thought I was about to win. And you just nailed me big time.
And I think that's a con. Excuse me while I chew some ice. I think that's a con a little bit, because you can get yourself into a bit of a pickle that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
I've gotten blown out of the water in this game
Yeah,
just based
losing
on a
two
couple.
turns. Yeah,
And some of it maybe was a bad draw, but part of it I just made a bad decision, or you can get yourself in a bit of a
if
spot.
you're going to play this game, I think for most characters, at some point you need to run away. Like some guys just like, you got all these cards, but get up to your 7 card limit. And every now and then, some of the hardest things for me with Bigfoot was I am going to fight another day. I have got to get out of here.
And it is hard because you're looking at some really powerful attacks, but you realize that to attack, I'm going to leave myself. Can I survive whatever
next
comes
round.
my way?
So on the front of this card, they will tell you, usually your character has one kind of little power at the end of your turn. If there are no opposing fighters in Bigfoot's zone, that's the colored zone, you may draw 1 card. So that's a pretty big deal. If he's all by himself in a zone, he gets a free card for that. And he moves 3, so he's pretty fast. Yours only moves 2, and that's what he's got to deal with. And the backside of this card, then, it tells you I get to do 2 of these actions. And so it gives me... there's 3 different things I can do: maneuver, scheme, or attack. I can attack twice. I can do those. So it gives me plenty of room there. But it is a fast-moving. Your turn moves quickly.
And that's another pro for me. I love how fast this game is. There's not much sitting around. Fast to play, fast to do. It's just fun. And I really think I kind of put it into like a dessert category of games for me, where I can't subsist off of just games like this.
No.
I couldn't just have these in my collection. But I just really enjoy pulling them out when I do, and it's fun to just kind of not think as hard and kind of have fun just playing a bunch of random cards.
I took this one back. I was visiting some of our kids, and I just threw one in the backpack, and I don't know if we're going to get a chance. But after dinner, you're like, I got a game that lasts 30 minutes maybe, and that's like okay, I'll play that.
And
that's
similar
easy.
to that, we talked about this in our Windward review. It works for a new player or somebody not really into board games, and it works for somebody into board games. So I can enjoy this just as much as somebody that doesn't love board games. And so it's nice to be able to introduce a game, to kind of have an introductory game that I really enjoy, that has some tactical depth to it, doesn't feel too empty. It actually has some choices that leave me scratching my head. That's cool. That's really fun.
So one more little kind of tack on, I should have mentioned it with all the different players. All the players can play against each other, any combination, and several of the boards, except for only the 1-player boards, but they all have different boards. And any one of these boards can play with any one of these characters. So, the Sherlock Holmes one is kind of set in a big manor that has secret staircases.
And at first glance, these don't seem to be that
Right.
different, but when you start playing on a board, it
You're
is
like,
different,
oh.
and it's actually most fun for me when I play these again. When I play one of these boards a second time, because I now understand how the board works and I know I know the spots. Now, of course, he's always going to be picking out the next
play a
board.
new one.
We've already played that one.
Anyway, but it does scratch that itch. So quick setup, tear down. So let's narrow it down. Buy, borrow, or bust. And
Man, I have to say buy. I looked at these for a while, almost buying them. I knew you had them, and I still was like, oof. And I was actually planning on getting one that you didn't have, and then every day it was like, oh, I got another one. Oh, well, that one's...
I couldn't stop myself. And it's that desire to get a new game. Like after I understand the game, when I would get a new game, like the fun part in my chair would be like, I'm opening the deck tonight.
Let's see how it plays.
And I'm reading through the deck, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt Bodie bad.
And that's actually what's really fun is I have read through a deck, thought I understood how it would play, and then in actuality, it plays so different.
Yep.
And part of that's because of the person I'm against, but part of it's just there's some
Combos.
unexpected combos, unexpected permutations of how. Did I just use the word permutations?
That's a big word.
I don't know about this.
We
did use strategic interdependence last time, so we're trying to stay
Right.
trying to stay consistent.
Let's stay 5th grade or below.
Okay, that's insulting.
No, that's for my
Oh,
benefit.
for your benefit. I thought you were calling them.
I'm not talking about you guys. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
apologize.
You're in dangerous
I need to
territory.
understand the words you're saying.
I'm trying to keep viewers.
He went to college.
Where were we?
Little pro, adding more in. But you know, some of those games where some of them are melee and some of them are range. They just make it really clear here. You know, you're in the same color, you're in the same zone. You can fight melee. You got to be right next. The little black line tells you. You know,
Are you still explaining how to
I
play
am.
the game?
I went.
We
back
just
to,
did the buy or borrow.
You
and
messed
we're-
me up with permutations.
Sorry.
What does that mean? Part
Hey,
2?
while we're still out of order, another thing I forgot to mention is the production value on this game is so good.
I know.
Like these are heavy duty. Your sidekick is actual like thicker plastic, and then the organization in these boxes is
Really easy.
awesome.
I love the Invisible Man. Bodie might be able to get a close up of it.
try.
We'll see. But it's like his head's not there. The hat's sitting there. Alice has got a monstral knife. Bruce Lee looks chiseled. He's set to go right there. It's you're right. Good production value.
So, should we buy or should we borrow a bus? Because I don't know if they remember
this
what
is
I
already
said.
known for
Yeah,
me.
that's true. It's a known quantity.
Yeah, it's a big buy for me, and I like how quickly it comes and that quick and the new game feel. Like you know, they put out another one, and I'm curious. And even I saw some game reviewer. I can't remember his name now, but they put on their own set, and I'm like, I'd like to see it. Like that's a fun deal. So.
Well, that's we actually went. I feel like we actually did that pretty fast with all of the jumping around. It went.
We
pretty
might have
quick.
lengthened it.
Who knows?
Well, there you go. The Game Garage, buy, borrow, or bust. It's a buy. Bye.